Alrighty guys, we're back for some Solphim Midrange, and this is a Phyrexia all will be one standard brew. We're going to go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Red Cat and I play aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to you. Also, we do got that Discord link down in the description if you're interested in joining that up. Okay, what do we got in the build here? Solphim, Mayhem, Dominus. We got two of them. It's a 4-mana, 5/4 legendary creature. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or permanent an opponent controls, it deals double that damage to that player or permanent instead. And then, for 3 mana, it's 1 and 2 red Phyrexian sources. Discard 2 cards. Put an indestructible counter on Solphim, Mayhem, Dominus, so that could come in handy, maybe, right? Discarding 2 cards is a lot of cards to discard, and it is called Solphim Midrange, but I don't necessarily think we want 3 or 4 of them in here, but we might talk more about that in the final thoughts. What else is packed in here? A bunch of burn on the top end between 4 Play with Fires, some early removal with Flame Blessed Bolt and Abrade. Being able to hit artifacts is pretty good. All 4 lightning strikes as well, and some more burn with a Volt Charge here. 3 mana instant speed, 3 damage to any target, and proliferate. Sounds pretty solid. And there's actually a bunch of stuff in here that we can add counters to with that proliferate, like Smoldering Egg. We got all 4 of these. This is a 2 mana 0/4 defender that we just don't get to see too often anymore. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a number of Ember counters on Smoldering Egg equal to the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. Then, if Smoldering Egg has 7 or more Ember counters on it, remove them and transform Smoldering Egg. So whenever you play Volt Charge, you can think of it as adding 4 Ember counters to the egg. However, if the Proliferate counter is the 7th counter on the egg, then I'm pretty sure Smoldering Egg won't flip because it has to be the 7th counter from this ability. So that's just something to think about, I guess. It shouldn't get in the way too often, though. We have 3 Brotherhood's End. Just a great board wipe that does not hit our Smoldering Egg, which is awesome. And then if we ever have to destroy all artifacts with mana value 3 or less with this, it's not really affecting us, so that's pretty cool too. We have 2 Chandra Dress to Kill, a great way to ramp in a deck like this, and it also is a way to do non-combat damage for the Solphim as well. A couple Koths in here, same concept. It's another way to do the non-combat damage with the Solphim with that -3 on the Koth, which deals damage to target creature equal to the number of mountains you control, which happens to be a good chunk of damage. Then it helps us thin out that deck, get those mountains out of there, right? The -7 as well. You get an emblem with whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target. That is a ton of damage, holy cow. We got a couple big score in here, helping us filter, helping us draw, helping us ramp, does everything. Got a couple Invoke Calamities as well, but wait, before I go over Calamity, we have 3 Burn Down the House as more ways to wipe the board. The biggest issue with the board wipes in this deck is they hit all of our planeswalkers too, but we don't have too many planeswalkers, and sometimes it is what it is, you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to actually play Chandra, ramp with the Chandra on turn 4, and drop the Burn Down the House, because yeah, some decks are that aggressive, so you never know, right? Of course, doubling as Devils is pretty darn good too. Anyways, the Invoke Calamity is a 5-mana instant speed card that we don't get to see too often either. You may cast up to 2 instant and or sorcery spells with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard and or hand without paying their mana costs. If those spells would be put into your graveyard, exile them instead, of course, right? And then exile Invoke Calamity. So having a couple of these is actually going to be really solid. Can you imagine you're burning down your opponent's face the entire game, you have Solphim on the board, and then you just wrap it up with an Invoke Calamity, grab like a Lightning Strike and a Volt Charge out of your graveyard? That sounds very powerful. There's also going to be moments where maybe you actually want to use Invoke Calamity to cast like a Burn Down the House at instant speed to clean up a lot more on your opponent's side of the field, right? So you never know, man. And Invoke Calamity, it's total mana value 6 or less, so you could totally hit a Volt Charge and a Brotherhood's End as well, or Burn Down the House, get some Devils, and drop a Play with Fire on your opponent's face. Like, there is so much to do with the Invoke Calamity. Only a couple of them, though. I don't think you want more than 2. 26 total land in here. 25 of them are mountains, mainly to work with the Koth, and one of them is a Crucible of Defiance because honestly, you never know. I think 26 land is probably right where we want it, but maybe we'll talk more about the land in the final thoughts. Okay, some honorable mentions. Of course, Fable of the Mirrorbreaker is great in mid-range builds, and it would probably do a lot in here, but we're really trying to focus on instant and sorcery cards for that Smoldering Egg mostly. Mechanized Warfare could be pretty good, and of course it pairs well with the Solphim as well, but yeah, we're kind of focusing on that Smoldering Egg's ability, and I don't know if there would actually be room for this, honestly. Like, we could drop a couple Volt charges, but then that's going to take away a part of the burn. Yeah, it depends. Ill-Tempered Loner almost made the list as well. Just being able to drop the Brotherhood's End with Ill-Tempered Loner on the board sounds really cool, but then if you also have the Solphim, then that is just super deadly, and of course with the Burn Down the House too. Almost made the list, not this time though. It would be a cool one though. Okay guys, that's the list. It's a relatively simple mid-range build. We're not ramping into these big old chunky artifacts, so it's pretty nice that it's more burn focused. I think that'll be pretty fun. Either way, let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. Okay, we'll see if we can get right into that first game here. What am I expecting from the build? I'm expecting somewhere in the middle. I bet since it's mid-range, we'll probably get like 4 games in. And I bet we win 2 and we lose 2. That's my guess. Of course, we're going to try to win all of them, but... Okay, I like the hand. It might be a little slow. We do have the 5 instant speed early removal cards in the deck. We don't have any of those. We don't have any of our 2 mana cards either, so it's a little slow, but I don't think this is a mulligan by any means. And hopefully the opponent isn't rocking Dimir. Although I think we could totally get there against Dimir. I just feel like when we're rocking a bunch of burn, it would be better to see aggro, maybe? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty much scared to go up against anything with this build. So we'll see, huh? Okay. Some simple mono black. The Smoldering Egg, yeah, it gets hit by cut down, unfortunately, but it's not like we don't play it here. And maybe they don't have the cut down, although I don't know if I've ever seen mono black not have a cut down. Oh, Liliana, that'll work too. They can save the cut down now. Yeah, Liliana's a problem. There's some of our burn. We could keep these open. I really don't want to discard to the Liliana. I'd rather proliferate with Koth on the board too, and Koth can take care of their creatures as well. So I'm going to do this on our turn. I guess. I guess, right? Yeah. We don't want them to be able to activate that Liliana and have us discard. Even though we could get rid of a mountain, it feels like we can't afford a discard. Trespasser picks up the egg. We're down to 13. Play with Fire is great. If we go Koth and then -3 now, they do have the other creature to just take care of the Koth, unfortunately. We could wait for the burn down the house. Take a lot of damage, but... And they don't have, since they're rocking the Merrics, they don't have the 4th to just drop an Obliterator, so it might be a Shieldred, which means burn down the house would clean up everything. Sorry, opponent, I'm thinking there's actually a lot to think about here. If we play Koth and +2, it does survive burn down the house if they just swing face. We go play with fire, take out underdog, maybe they just blitz that back and then burn down the house becomes a lot worse. Alright, If they swing face, Koth technically survives, and grabbing a mountain gives us an extra card in hand to maybe use for the ward on the Trespasser too. Either way, it's probably going to be Shieldred, and then Burn Down the House cleans this up, and Koth takes a serious amount of damage away from our face. That's actually not that bad, guys. Yeah, here comes the Shieldred, and Burn Down the House is looking good. Looking very, very good. Yep, we lose the 2. No other options, guys. That is the go-to. Now they can start bringing the underdog back by taking 2. Shieldred number 2 hits the board. We could burn it. We could double down on this. It's not that bad. Taking 2's pretty bad. Alright. I'll double down on this, just so we don't take 2. Because we are getting pretty low, especially knowing that the underdog can come back whenever. Okay, Volt Charge. We're kind of on the run. We need to start establishing something on this board. Ooh, Obliterator's worst case scenario, I would say. Volt Charge to their face doesn't necessarily do anything. Saving Volt Charge doesn't do anything. Oh, more land is probably the nail in the coffin here, guys. Overall, I feel like we could take on Mono Black. I feel like we could. But seeing the, this is the 8th mountain, right? It's actually not too many if you think about it. Second underdog comes back, and I'm surprised they didn't blitz this underdog. We'll clean up the underdog. That's fine. Yeah, I think swinging at that Koth was actually a really good play from the opponent. Another mountain off the top, and the 26 land is not looking terrific for us, guys. They got the 6 on the board, and they can blitz the tenacious underdog back. We'll drop them the good game and let them swing on in. Dang. It's kind of crazy to think about how significant a difference. Well, yeah, if we would have had that Smoldering Egg on the board for even just a couple extra turns. Of course, once the Obliterator hits against a deck like this, we really have to be doing all the burn to their face to put that pressure on, because there's nothing we can do about the Obliterator. So we have to also have an equal amount of pressure hitting their face. So yeah, that's tough. That's going to be a tough matchup. Hopefully, I think it was last weekend, right? We went up against 4 mono blacklists in a row, and it was really rough. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. Although we are back up in platinum, and I see a lot less mono black in platinum. Yep, couple Smoldering Eggs. Not bad, not bad. Okay. I'd like to see more early removal, but it's totally fine. There we go. Lightning Strike totally works. So turn 2 Smoldering Egg, turn 3 Smoldering Egg, I think is going to be the play. If they're rocking mid-range, they're rocking mono white mid-range, which is my guess because they didn't have a 1-drop, but you never know, right? Mono white mid-range has a bunch of removal, doesn't it? I think so. I think it runs Lay Down Arms. I think it runs still rock Fateful Absence. Yeah, so I think it's going to be turn 3 Smoldering Egg, and hopefully one of them can stick onto this board. Got their 3rd. Wedding announcement. Okay, Smoldering Egg is alive for now. That's good news. I'd love to take care of this Bank Buster at some point, but okay. It's going to be Smoldering Egg number 2. And my thought process there is pretty simple. We have big score in hand, so we have our 4th mana, drop the big score, get 2 extra. Like, we might be able to flip both of these eggs very soon. Even though big score is only 4, and then we'll have 2 mana open. Yeah, it's not flipping next turn. If we go... How do I want to do this? Okay, we could Volt Charge the Steel Seraph. Oh, lay down arms. Okay, we still have one Smoldering Egg. I think it was still the right play. Threw up Bank Buster, that's getting through. Oh, I'm surprised they didn't give Bank Buster. Oh, I guess that makes sense. They're getting 5 through then. I was thinking like maybe lifelink on the Bank Buster, but that makes more sense, I would say. Invoke Calamity is terrific. That is very good. We go big score, we'll have 2 mana open for the Lightning Strike. Also, maybe we'll find something better, like... Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of problems here, isn't there? If we flip this, they won't... If we proliferate their wedding announcement, they won't get a benefit from it next turn, right? Alright, we're going to go big score on our turn here. And we're going to actually ditch... Actually, I'm going to ditch the Crucible of Defiance. Since we flooded out so hardcore last time, Brotherhood's End is very, very good against this build. At this point, taking out the Steel Seraph seems like the best bet, but I'm gonna hold off until before their combat. I think that is fine. I don't think a deck like this runs protection for their creatures because they don't have to. They keep their hand nice and stocked regardless, so... Alright, and we will hit that Steel Seraph before combat and see what happens here. I guess doing it this way lets them corrupt the Bank Buster. They drop the GGs to give a +1/+1, and that's my fault. That's my fault, guys. I could have done this last turn. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean a GG's yet, because we are going to be flipping Smoldering Egg next turn, and Brotherhood's End still hits the Steel Seraph since it's 3 mana or less. Other than that, Brotherhood's End hitting the... Yeah, it would hit Bank Buster too. We swing at Wandering Emperor, for sure. 4 mana. I ditched that other mana too, guys. Oh man, don't blame the deck here. Not in this match, at least. If I would have had the 5th mana, Invoke Calamity would have been the play this turn. To be able to play the Volt Charge and the Brotherhood's End. We don't need to play 2 things at once, though. It would just be much better to be able to do so. And now we swing at Wandering Emperor. Yeah, being able to do 2 things at once there would have actually let us maybe use the ability. And Ashmouth is out of here. Big score number 2 is going to be huge for us, and we might actually ditch the Volt Charge since we have Invoke Calamity. Okay, well. Brotherhood's End hits everything. And Volt Charge from hand would be fine. Probably want to hold off on that, though. Yeah, this I could have played this one out so much better. I apologize, guys. Actually gonna ditch. Yeah, I don't want to do... There's so many options. It is hurting my brain right now. I'm actually gonna just start with the big score and ditch a Calamity. We're gonna keep 1 Calamity back. Nice. So we drew the 2nd Brotherhood's End, which is just incredible here. Do 3 damage to everything to clean up that Wandering Emperor and get their token off the board. I think that is pretty good for us. Koth is a great draw. Everything's great here. This is good stuff. Wandering Emperor number 2 is out of here. They have 5 cards in hand. Calamity lets us recast 2 of them, and our poor Smoldering Eggs, they drop a 2nd GG. Bankbuster. Are they dropping a GG because they're missing mana? I think that might actually be why. Roadside Reliquary, nice. Okay. We bring back Big Score, and Lightning Strike could be fine. I don't want to ditch the Koth. I think I'd rather get Koth down. It's a threat that is sustainable. Bring a mountain to our hand and get the... Oh, we already played a mountain this turn. Yeah, I was going to say get the Volt Charge ready and then proliferate -7 on the Koth, but then we won't... Well, then any mountains we top deck becomes very deadly too. You know, I always say it with these types of decks, but they require practice, at least for me, right? This is one that I probably should have practiced, as opposed to, like, the other day we did the Bant Soldiers list, right? And I practiced with that one like a week prior, and I don't really need the practice for a list like that because I always play decks like that, or just like super aggressive decks. Koth taking a big hit here. Abrade. Yeah, now we can't hit the Peacekeeper because they swung at this. So we gotta grab a mountain, I would say. We have the 7 mana for Calamity if we still wanted to do that. If we wanted to do Calamity. If we go like Big Score, ditch our other mountain, and then Lightning Strike, it would come down to using the Abrade, doubling down on the Peacekeeper. Doesn't seem that great, does it? It really doesn't. I'm still going to play the Calamity for 7 mana. Peacekeeper making it cost more definitely holds back a lot of our plays here, especially going like Volt Charge to proliferate on the Koth and stuff, but I think this is fine. And the plan here is Big Score and ditch the mountain to it. And then we'll go Lightning Strike as well. So we'll go Big Score, ditch the mountain, submit 1, Lightning Strike. So we go Lightning Strike. Actually, we could remove... Yeah, the Abrade hits the Bank Buster too. Oh, so many tough decisions, guys. Seriously. I think we double down on Peacekeeper. Oh, but both of our Invoke Calamities are gone too. Let's see what we draw, because we could draw Flame Blessed Bolt or Play with Fire. We have literally all of those in the deck. Smoldering Egg. Let's get rid of the Peacekeeper. Even though hitting Bank Buster seems like it could be pretty good too. I think if they don't have a creature in hand, we get to keep Koth around. The last 2 games, man, we're on the run. Like, we are seriously on the run. I could have played this one out much, much better, though, so maybe it would be a different story, right? Like, a simple thing like me actually just playing Lightning Strike on our turn to take care of Steel Seraph, they still would have had the 2 Wandering Emperors, which eventually would have cleaned up our Smoldering Eggs anyways. So it really depends. I think seeing Smoldering Egg here is excellent. I think the Invoke Calamity was great. I kind of wish I would have kept both Invoke Calamities because it does seem to be... Wandering Emperor. Okay, so see, they can't power up Bank Buster with the Wandering Emperor's token. Oh, yes, they can because of Wedding Festivity, so they can actually hit the Koth anyways. Oh, crap. Yeah, 3rd Wandering Emperor is brutal. Another Volt Charge. Not too bad, actually. Smoldering Egg. Take care of that. Proliferate onto the egg. Submit 1. Take care of Wandering Emperor. Flip the egg, and now, unfortunately, yeah, I guess submit 0. I never know what to do with their Bank Busters with the proliferate. I never know if I want to keep them away from getting the token. Yeah, Dragon's out of here, unfortunately, guys. We are backed into a corner with no ways to draw. Both Big Scores out, both Invoke Calamities. It's been a very long match, too, so we'll see what we draw the next couple turns here. And then talk about going down to 25 land, huh? The third GG's from the opponent, and this time I believe them because man oh man were we on the run here. I wonder if I should just start hitting face instead, because we do got a bunch of burn, but then we probably would be dead by now, huh? They go for the draw, and hopefully they start swinging in here. Yeah, we'll let them close out this game. They have Bankbuster to swing in with too, and another mountain. Yeah, we got to talk about 25. I believe we sent a mountain. I don't think we want 24 by any means. There's a lot of very expensive things here. I'm thinking... When we were going over the deck, I talked about Volt Charge. I think it might be okay to go down to 2 Volt Charge and maybe find something else. I guess more draw, like a third big score could be pretty good. Oh, I shouldn't have played that mountain, by the way. Oh, no. Both of our big scores are gone. If we did... Wait. Are both of the big scores gone? Never mind. Yeah, they are. There it was at the bottom. Yeah, GG opponent. Another mountain. 3 mountains in a row. We definitely have to talk about 25, but even so, what were we going to do against this particular build? Drop them that GG. Give them our favorite emote. I think hitting Bankbuster with with our Abrade would have been pretty good too. The third Wandering Emperor was very, very bad for us because them being able to swing into the Koth that turn. If we could have kept the Koth for just one more turn, we could have thinned out the deck. It also would have shuffled, which maybe could have changed our draws a little bit more. I don't think we were going to keep up with mono white mid-range. Just absolutely. I don't think the opponent's going to swing in, are they? I think we might have to concede here, guys. Speaking of which, oh, there we go. Speaking of which, we do have chapters on all of my videos, so always feel free to skip ahead. I know I always stick in till the very last second in most of the game. Did I have fun that match? We don't talk about that match. It doesn't exist. Put it on. Oh man. It really does ask me at the strangest times. I wonder how they know when to ask, or if it's just completely random. Well, either way, let's see if we can actually get a solid victory here. Smoldering Egg showing its weakness right now against the current meta. Just an infinite amount of removal, and in those 2 decks, we can't pretend that that isn't a big part of the meta. Mono black and mono white mid-range has been absolutely everywhere. Hey, speaking of the meta, this is much better. That's a perfect target for Flame. Oh my goodness. Flame Blessed Bolt. This is a perfect deck to test out Smoldering Egg against because the 4 toughness is huge against this list. Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Speaking of the meta, mono red, man, that is also everywhere. So this is going to be great. Phoenix Chick number 2. Still worth taking out the first one. Our 1 mana card for their 1 mana card that flies in the air. I mean, yeah, definitely still worth hitting, I would say. Burn down the house, Brotherhood's End. All of this is terrific, except for the fact that we don't get to power up our eggs too soon. Brotherhood's End can come down pretty much whenever, as long as they have multiple creatures that we want to hit. We get to block Swift Spear nicely. Yeah, the second Phoenix Chick is particularly bad, but it's not hitting too hard right now, so... They even hold the Swift Spear back. I mean, yeah, what's the point, I guess? So these are 2 great cards to hit with the Brotherhood's End. We really, really want to see that 4th mana, and once we do, we'll be able to get the 5th mana with Koth for the burn. At that point... Do we clean this up right now? I think we hold it. Right? I think we hold it. No, no, I'm not doing it. I'm gonna hit everything. I'm gonna hit everything, and I think that's okay. So we hit 3 of their creatures so far. They have a ton of cards in hand. Dwarven Forge Chanter, that's a cool addition, opponent. So I think just cleaning up while we can. Uh-oh, Koth number 2. Oh no, guys, we need to see mana. Last game we drew way too much of it. This game we're not seeing the 4th. Yep. We gotta see it. Like, we really gotta see it. We don't want them to burn the eggs before we flip them to continue to burn the rest of their... So they can swing with Swift Spear, and if we block, they drop the Play With Fire on the Smoldering Egg that we blocked with, and then it dies. So we end up just taking the damage, and then when we do, they can hit our face with the Play With Fire, get a good chunk of damage through, so... We don't know what's in their hand, though, so I can't really... We only know that they have the Play With Fire over here. It's like double Play With Fire, then doubling down on a Smoldering Egg could be pretty good. Oh, nice. And they still have the Play With Fire here, too. Target attacking creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, and then they have destroy target artifact on that, too. Wow. For 1 mana? Seems solid, man. Seems like a solid addition to a prowess build. Yeah, hit face. It's a ton of damage, guys. We really, really need to see that 4th. We gotta hit that Koth right now. Another Smoldering Egg isn't gonna do it. We're gonna have to start blocking with these now. For sure. For sure. There's no doubt in my mind. They hit a 5th mana. The opponent might be getting a little unlucky here, too. This is bad news. This is really bad news. I feel like we're favored here, actually. I do. They have 11 on the board. We're gonna be forced to double block. Lightning strike our face. 13 on the board. We take 8 away, we take 5. They still have a mountain, so we could still die. Yeah. I think we have to, like, block everything here and probably lose the Smoldering Egg. Did they not have anything else in hand? But yeah, we still took 3 trample because Ancestral Anger had trample. Lightning Strike. This has a ward, pay 2 life, so we can't necessarily hit that right now. If we do this on our turn, it's better than... We got to do it on our turn because they could double down and get the Swift Spear above it as well. Oh, man. GG opponent. Ah, geez. We're getting humbled today, guys. We won too much this week. We won too much this week. That's tough business, man. Yeah, no questions in my mind. We are forced to block here. We are forced to block. Doesn't have trample. Yeah, I mean, we still block. We can't do... We don't know what that last card is. They cleaned up all the Smoldering Eggs. And Volt Charge would have been so good. Oh my goodness. We're going to take 2 from the Chanter. And whatever their last card is, they could actually get above the Volt Charge too. So, let's see it. Maybe it's a mountain. They might be getting unlucky too. We're at 2, guys. Oh no. We played this whole game with 3 mountains. Oh geez. I do feel like we're technically favored against a deck like this though. Kumano number 2 could drop. Literally anything can hit this board. Swift Spear, nice. We're forced to block that for sure. So I guess... Oh! Oh! We got a 4th mountain, guys. I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know where to begin right now. Oh, man. Commando flips, Smoldering Egg is forced to block that too, but there's like so much that the opponent could have. No way. There's no way we're alive right now, and there's no way we continue to survive, right? I guess we plus the Koth. Mountain. I guess Solphim, right? Over the burn down the house. Because Solphim's pretty tricky for mono red to deal with too. Right now they're just looking for their last burn card. Another mountain. They're getting unlucky too, guys. What on earth? They're getting unlucky too. We could actually just ditch the Koth and take care of the etching. That totally works. Play Koth number 2. But I also think it's totally fine here to grab a mountain. Especially since, like, nothing is promised here. Absolutely nothing is promised. I think we're pretty safe to go burn down the house for devils, too. We might as well. At any point, the opponent can find what they need. We'll swing with one of them, just for fun. Have a damage opponent, since I've been barely able to do any damage to anyone today. We are seriously on the run. Hopefully, we can get one more match in. Dude, they are struggling to find the burn. It was another mountain. They are getting just as bad luck as we are, or as we had. Oh my goodness. Well, unfortunately, we're forced to clean up this board state. We swing with all of these first. Maybe actually all of them too. Actually flip the Smoldering Egg. Maybe we just go Brotherhood's End, flip Smoldering Egg. And I don't know how much hasty creatures they have, so I am going to keep Solphim back for now. Okie dokies. We're gonna do this. It does hit the Koth, which is fine, right? Yes. Okay, yes. Clean up their board state. Flip the Ashmouth Dragon. See, we still have a lot of great blockers here. We're doing 6 damage to the opponent's face. We could have swung, actually. Guess we'll thin out the deck, since we're gonna just draw mountains for a while, I suppose. We actually have the Solphim ability here too, so we might win. It depends what they draw here. It really does. It's a mountain! It's a mountain, guys! Oh my goodness. Why can't I submit 1, 2? There we go. I'm freaking out. I'm sorry, opponent. So we swing at face. I guess we target our own creature. There we go, the Abrade. Look at us. Oh my goodness, the opponent got so unlucky there. I thought we were the ones getting unlucky. I was just about to say, hopefully we can get one more game in where we actually do something, but the opponent was having a very bad day there. I can't, oh my goodness. We're 38 minutes in. Let's try to get a fast one. The deck has just been absolutely on the run. It's been drawing relatively poorly. I played the first 2 games out pretty poorly too, though, so we can't completely blame the deck, especially that... Wait, what was it? Was it the first game? Was it mono black that I played poorly against? I can't remember right now. I'm so taken aback by the mono red game that we just hit. I can't believe that victory, guys. I literally, I feel bad, like, but we did get pretty unlucky there not hitting a land so many turns in a row too, so. I guess we do this on our turn. I've learned my lesson from the Wandering Emperor. And the Proliferate gets us to 4, which is cool. Looks like some Jund. Fable, okay. Koth is going to take care of the token, I would say. Oh, the Abrade, though. Well, we could Lightning Strike and keep the other Lightning Strike open and flip the egg next turn. We could do it this turn, too. You go Abrade, hit this, flip it, and then swing for 4. Sure, why not? Let's do it. And I'll keep the other Lightning Strike to be able to hit the opponent's face. So the Proliferate hasn't mattered yet, but it's still a pretty cool... It's still a pretty cool thing to be able to proliferate onto the eggs. Some Jun scary business, huh? It's gotta be removal for the Ashmouth then. There's like no way this survives. Go for the throat, hits it, yep. And Reckoner, Bankbuster, making me feel bad that I played the Abrade already. This is 6 damage to face. Getting Koth down is totally fine. The biggest issue with Koth is actually... So I like thinning the deck here. Yeah, the biggest issue with Koth is gonna be them just playing out like a Blood Tithe Harvester and then swinging in at Koth with the Bankbuster. But they have Unleashed the Inferno, actually. They don't need to swing with that. Okay, lots can hit face. Reflection we can hit, especially if they go into Titan of Industry soon. I'd love to hit all this to face. It's too bad our Ashmouth isn't still out there because, man, that would be a ton of damage, huh? Alright, we're going to hold all of this open and see what happens, because we might have to hit that Reflection. There's a lot that Reflection can copy that we really don't want them to copy. Like a Blood Tithe Harvester, for example. Go for a swing. Sure, yeah, we'll let the swing happen. Graveyard Trespasser. Do we just go face and hope to draw our Invoke Calamity? They're gonna get a gain. They're gonna hit our egg. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Alright. It's a tough decision, but I'm gonna go for the Scry on the Play with Fire. Play with Fire number 2. It's not terrible. I guess we'll keep it and just keep trying to burn their face. And let's not worry about the Proliferate on the Volt Charge. Let's worry more about mana. And we'll just go for this. And we could actually not worry about them drawing and keep their Bankbuster a little bit further away from being able to power itself up with the token. Still have like 3 turns for that until that happens, though. You know what? I am going to do that. Seems super duper silly, but... And we're probably going to hit all to face again and get the Scry on the Play with Fire as we're trying to burn their face pretty well. They're still a turn away from... not next turn, but the turn after would be the turn where they could potentially get the Titan of Industry down. Gaining life on the Glutton. We probably shouldn't have let it switch to nighttime, guys. Man, I am butchering this poor deck today. Oh, good, they're not going to hit. Well, I guess they can hit their creatures now. Probably gaining 3 total, back up to 12. They're actually going to keep this back. Maybe they think we have... They're still just hitting cards out of our grave, too. Which is great for them, because they, I guess, figure it's going to be an Invoke Calamity deck. Alright, we're down to 13. And they are 1 turn away from a potential Titan. They took so much damage there from the Shieldred, and they didn't gain anything. Big score! Crap! We need a card to discard to the big score, but is that going to be worth it over the Lightning Strike damage here? I think we discard Lightning Strike and try to find something. Oh no! Oh, that's such a tough decision, guys. Because if we ditch it, we could just find the damage on top right away. Crap. I think we keep it. It doesn't switch back. We're gonna draw, take a bunch of damage. I don't know. I should have, maybe I should have ditched it because we could lightning strike their face down to 3. We're gonna take a bunch of damage from the draw from Shieldred. Crap, crap, crap. Guys, I think maybe I should have ditched it and tried to find the excess damage here. Yeah, we're taking a lot. We're taking a lot, but we're going for it. That only gives us 3 open mana, though, so what exactly was I thinking? Volt Charge. Down to 7. Brotherhood's End doesn't hit the Glutton or the Shieldred. Volt Charge hits face, but we're dead, guys. What was it? Brotherhood's End or Volt Charge that was on top? Because if it was Volt Charge, that's all we needed. And it can't be the Brotherhood's End, so they go back up to 8. Oh no. Oh no, guys. That could have gone either way, I would say, overall, right? They go draw on the Bank Buster. Since Shieldred's out, it makes sense. Go back up to 10 for sure. I think it was Brotherhood's End that was on top. So if we would have ditched the big score, I think we were going to draw the Brotherhood's End. But I still think that was the play. I think we ditched the big score over drawing it. I think that would have been the best case scenario. I'm surprised they're not... Oh yeah, now they're hitting some of their creatures. Yeah, we'll just hit face. And of course taking out like Reflection there too, but either way we were super dead after the fact. Invoke Calamity, if that was on top, maybe... Here, have a counter. Maybe Invoke Calamity could have done something. They were gobbling up so much out of our graveyard, but we had so much in the graveyard too. I don't know. I feel like that could have gone a lot of different ways overall. Today was a rough day, guys, but getting that victory against Mono Red made it very, very worth it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the deck again, and I can't stress this enough. Smoldering Egg really showed its weakness today because it gets picked up by everything, and absolutely everyone is rocking a ton of removal. Of course, its best bet was up against that mono red build, but then we couldn't do too much with it as we were forced to block as mono red was just piling damage through. And that was a very unique version of mono red, which props to the opponent there, where they were actually focused on the prowess, focused on buffing those creatures and giving them trample too. So just being forced to block with Smoldering Egg in that scenario is probably going to be pretty rare against mono red. Instead, they're going to focus on different types of combat tricks, like having you block smaller creatures and then dropping a Play with Fire on the Smoldering Egg, which is damage that's not going to your face, and a Scry that's not going to happen from the opponent too. Overall, yeah, it's definitely designed to go up against the aggro lists a little bit more, but even the other aggro lists have a ton of removal packed into them. Even Azorius Soldiers rocking way too much removal overall, right? Although against Soldiers, I think we might be favored too, because a big part of their removal is Brutal Cathar, and of course everything in this deck hits Brutal Cathar very nicely. Okay, the mana. 26 mana. Do we go up? Do we go down? We don't go up to 27, and we could think about going down to 25, but you guys saw that mono red deck, man. How many turns did we have in a row where we didn't see our 4th mana, and how essential was it? Very, very essential. Sticking at 3 mana in this deck is very bad. We didn't even have, I mean, we could have even seen Chandra, and that would have actually been better because maybe we would have been able to keep it around long enough to ramp into the 4th mana to get the Koth down to ramp into the 5th mana, right? So I think 26 is fine. I think maybe, kind of, sort of. I think the 2 Calamities is fine too, although having a 3rd one, maybe we would have been able to see it in a game like against that Jund build at the end there. All we saw today was, in fact, meta builds, which is actually nice because there was a moment where we were seeing just a bunch of random stuff and I had no idea what to build around at all because it was just all over the place. Today we only saw meta, so it makes it much easier to talk about the final thoughts and what we're going to see over the next couple weeks as far as the meta goes. Yeah, you're going to see what we saw today. Mono black and mono red are sticking around. Mono white mid-range is, I don't want to say a little bit more rare because I have been seeing it a lot, but it it exists, and honestly it doesn't win that much against us, at least not while I'm recording on the channel here. That might be because I lean towards aggro and we just end up killing them before they get anything to pop off. But you're still going to see mono white mid-range, so it's definitely something to play around. You're going to see Jund. I've been seeing a lot more Jund, and then at that point, when they're up against me at least, they always get that Titan down, and then they go right with that reflection, copy Titan, and then that's usually just the GG's right then and there. But it's kind of my fault for not playing too much removal in a lot of my builds. But this deck is packed with removal, and oh man, against mono black, you got the Trespasser, which is an absolute pain, but the Koth deals with it well because you get that +2, get that mountain, and then discard that mountain and take care of the Trespasser. Brotherhood's End hits Trespasser really well, and so does Burn, but then they have the Obliterator that you have to worry about. If you do any damage to the Obliterators, it's pretty much game over then and there, and so at that point, you're really just hoping that you're burning the opponent's face a lot more, but there's just so many creatures that you have to constantly remove. Oh man, I could probably talk about this deck for another 10 minutes. I think overall more testing is required, and there was something a little off about Big Score today, and I think it was just when I chose to cast it. Especially in that last game, like, it was a really tough decision for me to send it, but then after the fact, after I saw it, after I drew, and then, like, Sheoldred's doing that damage to us, I realized the best bet for us to win was to send it to the bottom. And so, again, a lot of the games today might have actually just been my fault. Maybe the mono white was probably leaning towards the opponent regardless. There's no guarantees that we would have found that burn off the top if I sent the big score, even though that was probably the best bet for us there. I think the 3 burn down the house and the 3 big scores is definitely enough, and I think overall you are gonna see more mono red than you're gonna see any of those other lists that we saw today. So maybe there's a place for something like this, but overall when you're going big red too, it's a much safer bet to go the artifact route because of the Might and Weak Stone. That, first search of the evening, guys, we're gonna freeze. The Might Stone and Weak Stone, yeah, that's one of the reasons to go big red, because the -5/-5 does hit the Obliterator, but I gotta be real with you guys, I haven't been seeing too much Obliterator at all. That honestly, for anyone who watches my videos every day, let me know in the comments, when's the last time we went up against Obliterator, because I think it's been a while. I think that was the first one in a long while. The game likes to do that for sure. It likes to show you, hey, there's this blind spot in your deck. Don't forget about that, you know? Hey, I see you're testing out the deck. Don't forget about this card, you know? Which is actually pretty nice, honestly, because then you have to think about it. Could you slip like a Might Stone and Weak Stone in here to take care of Obliterator? No, I still think that the best bet would honestly just hope that you are dealing enough damage to the opponent. And at that point, you're probably not, because they probably removed all of your Smoldering Eggs anyways. So it was great to play with Smoldering Egg again before rotation this September. And we might play it again, but there's so many other lists to actually try out. By the way, brings me to, I completely forgot to mention it earlier, but down in the comments, somebody wanted me to put a Solphim list together, and that's what this list was. So thank you for the suggestion down in the comments. Totally forgot to bring it up earlier. I apologize. If you made it this far into the video, guys, you are champions for real. Holy cow. We're almost an hour in, so enough rambling about the build, huh? Thank you so much for being here. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.